Hi, I'm Alex Al, and I'm the one who gave the speech at the Maroa webinar on May Day 2020. Epigram Books has taken it up and put it into a little booklet. I hope it's of interest to quite a few people. I've been very much into the migrant worker issues through my volunteering with Transit Workers Count 2. So, in a sense, it's been like 10 years, coming to 10 years of a huge learning experience as I have been with TWC2. And I hope to have distilled those 10 years of experience and hands on knowledge into a single little speech at the webinar. I don't know whether I've succeeded, but I think I know a little bit more than the average person in Singapore. Well, as I said, in the speech I gave, which is now in a transcript form, there is very little contact between the average person in Singapore and foreign workers. Yeah, we may see them on the bus, we may sit next to them at the bus stop, we may walk past them along the street, but actually, I think very few people get the opportunity to actually talk to them and try to understand where they're coming from, what their concerns are, what they're thinking at any given time. So it's a real shame that they are such a part of Singapore, and yet there's this terrible divide where they don't quite understand us and we don't know anything about them. So that's not a very healthy state of affairs. So at the webinar, which was at first built around the theme of escalating infections in the dormitories. When I started to think about what I would say, I thought that it would be misleading if I also wrote on exactly the same theme and only talked about COVID and only talked about dormitories. I think it would do the issues and the people affected by the issues, namely the migrant workers, a grave injustice to merely focus on that relatively tiny aspect of the issue. It was very major at that point in time, but from the perspective of years and years of them having to work in Singapore, it's a blip in their overall experience in Singapore. So I think it was necessary to try to shift the conversation a bit to the issues that really matter to them, and I think issues that the average Singaporean might not really be fully aware of. I wanted to stress that for migrant workers, the top issue remains their ability to work and the ability to earn an income to support their families. You can have bad accommodation, you can have the threat of illness, you can even have racism and discrimination, and they will probably put up with it so long as they can continue to support their families. This is an angle which is, I think, lost. Too often when Singaporeans speak about foreign workers, we speak about our take on foreign workers. We don't speak about the foreign workers' take on life. And that's a simple outcome of the invisibility. So I hope that in that little talk I gave and in this transcript now in this book, thank you very much, we can kind of rebalance the issues so that a bit more light and a bit more weight is put on the matters, on the aspects that really matter. I mean, think about this. These are family men. These are probably the most responsible people from their own country. Why do I say that? How many people on this earth are going to put themselves out, leave their families, leave their countries to work abroad for years on end, in a different culture, in a different country, put themselves through a lot of misery and a lot of hardship just to look after their families. And I think we owe them that much respect. And we owe them a little more understanding of where they're coming from and what their lives aims are, and if we can do anything at all to help them along the way, I think we should. What I hope to have achieved is that in a single little book like this, any reader will get a good bird's eye view of the key features of the migrant worker landscape. And this is just an easy way to understand the issues from outside those of us who work in the migrant worker space, to get a grasp of what are the priorities, what are the real issues, and therefore be able to see things in better perspective. I hope that comes across in the book, and I hope readers will benefit from it from that angle.